All right, so this is really the first time that I'm going live. Let's see, what does it say here? Yada, 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 yada. All right, well, anyhow, I'm Coach Lydia. Oh, what's it say? This is all new, so y'all bear with me. There was a little swipe to close. All right. Coach Lydia here, plant-based food coach. I have been plant-based for 20 plus years. I've lost almost 100 pounds. I have maintained the weight loss. And if you have looked at any of my feed, you will see how much food I eat. And I don't really gain weight. I gain weight when I eat processed food. So today I thought what I would do is I would open up my first box from Purple Carrot. I make all of my food from scratch, but sometimes I feel a little lazy and I think about food delivery service. And so I was looking around thinking, what food delivery service or meal kits could I try? And Purple Carrot was it. And they had gifted me this box. It's almost 15 pounds, or it says here on here that it is 15 pounds. So I figured let's open it up together and see what kind of food we get. So I've got two computers here. I've got my phone and two computers. I'm new at this, so I'm not sure how I can see it on my computer. So just bear with me for a moment while I take a look here. Am I live? Okay, still here. You love my wig. No wig, honey, no wig, all natural. All right, so let me see. If any of you know how I can watch on my computer at the same time as I'm doing live, please let me know, all right? All right, so, no. I'm declining people because this is my first time, all right? So let's see what we have in the Purple Carrot box. And as I said, I make all of my own food. I make probably 95% of it from scratch, but you know, we all get lazy. Let's see what it has here. They're on a mission to spread their love for outrageously tasty plant-based foods, one meal at a time, and that's typically how I end all of my posts. Make healthy choices, one meal at a time. So that's what we're going to do. Let's take a look. So I got the box and then I just popped it into my refrigerator. What do we have here? They give you a nice little booklet. They tell you all about, let's take a look. They tell you all about the different types of meals that you can get from Purple Carrot. They give you recipes, which I love as well. I will try some of these recipes. What do we have here? Tropical coconut pancakes, every once in a while. Chia pudding. I must be the only person on the planet that hates chia pudding. I don't know why people like it. I've made it a million times and I don't get it. It's good for you, but I don't get it. Sumac, brown rice, curried cauliflower. It's nice that you get a recipe book. That's perfect. All right, let's get that out of the way. Got a nice big ice pack. Okay, so they gave me, since I make food, let's take a look. I want you to see it. That's what it looks like on the inside. Let's see what we have here. Oh, that's interesting. How can I do this? Hopefully you can see that. Let's see what we got here. Oh, people that say hi. To be a troll. Whatever. That's all right. Lots of trolls out there. All right, so in my purple carrot box, they gave me mushrooms. This is to make mac and cheese, which will be interesting. I have a certain way that I make mac and cheese, which is usually with a cashew cream, and I make this for my son. Normally I don't eat this, but that's fine. There's the mac and cheese. What is this? Oh, this is to make some coconut tofu. I make tofu all of the time. This should be interesting. Coconut tofu. And then there's a wild rice pilaf. That's interesting. We'll open these up in a moment. And then we have garlic. Yeah, it's 15 pounds because of all of the ice. All right. Oops. I will be making some cookies later. Some oatmeal banana cookies. All right, so let's first take a look at the coconut tofu. And I wonder, let's see what they have in here. The coconut tofu is in here. It should be, for people that don't know how to make it. All right. This is what your coconut tofu is supposed to look like. I like to make really big plates of food because you want to be totally satiated. You want your stomach to stretch. You want to be, you know, fully satisfied. So I could probably I could eat all of this myself. All right, so they have it here. They say that it takes 30 minutes to make. Let's see what's in here. You got your cabbage. You have your roasted coconut. I make roasted coconut all the time. Panko breadcrumbs. I would imagine that you are taking your tofu and then you're putting the breadcrumbs around it. What else do they have? Sesame seeds. You have some dates. This is your Thai peanut sauce. I make this all the time as well. Cornstarch. That's a lot of cornstarch. That's your rice. Looks like it's a half a cup of rice. And then your lime. Okay. So I can see how you could make something like this. But let me tell you guys something, just in case you didn't know, when it comes to your tofu, if you want to make really good tofu that has that meaty consistency, what you want to do, and I'm not sure if they tell you this in the book. Let me look first. So basically they're saying that with the tofu, you need to combine the cornstarch with a little bit of water. You mix it together and then you toss your tofu into the cornstarch, and then you have to put it in the breadcrumbs and then put it in a pan with a 1/4 cup of vegetable oil and then you go ahead and brown it. Now, here's my thing. The way that I lost so much weight, all right, I lost almost 100 pounds. The way that I did that was I took out the sugar out of my diet, I took out the salt, and I took out the oil. So the way that I would make this, I'll go ahead and eventually make this the way that they instruct, minus the oil. But the way that I make tofu and the way that you get the really meaty consistency is that you need to take this tofu, and I like Hodu tofu. I visited the headquarters in Berkeley. But what you want to do is you want to take any tofu that you have, you want to go ahead and throw that in the freezer. Make sure that this is frozen, and then you want to take it out of the freezer and you want to let it defrost. And then you just want to go ahead and squeeze out all of the water out of this. And then you want to go ahead and put it in your marinade, or you can go ahead and put it in your cornstarch with your seasonings. But that is going to give you a really nice, meaty consistency. That's one of the things that I don't really like, is when you get a tofu dish and there's just no bite to it. And so that is your secret. And let me show you. This is a block of tofu that I froze, and every time I go to the grocery store and I see that tofu is on sale, whether that's organic or regular, I'll go ahead and buy a bunch of it and I'll automatically freeze it. And this is what frozen tofu looks like. Let it defrost. It's going to look the same. Squeeze out the water, and there's your meaty consistency. All right. But I like the fact that I have all of this in one kit, which is nice. All right. So that's cool. I'm going to leave this out because I am going to make some tofu. I'll make some barbecue tofu or something like that. Next, we have the wild rice pilaf. Let's take a look and see what they have to say here. Where the heck is that? Okay. Wild rice pilaf. That's what it's supposed to look like. And again, for people that don't know how to make this, that you're just starting out with being plant-based, it's good to have. Get that out of the way. Tomatoes. A couple of squished tomatoes, but that's okay. It doesn't have to be perfect. What is this? Chipotle pepper in adobo sauce. You have red picante peppers. Avocado. This avocado is rock hard, so I'd either get my own avocado, or I would just hold off on making the rice pilaf if I wanted to have this avocado with it. All right, so this is hard, but I get it. They're sending it to us, and they don't want us to have, those soft and mushy avocados. And just in case you don't know, the way that you check to see if an avocado is ready to eat, you can take out what I call the little navel here. You remove that. Right now it's too hard, but when you remove it, it comes off easily, and you should see a nice light green, and then you know that your avocado is ready. So I'm going to go ahead and put this in a dark spot, or I'll put it in a bag and make sure that it ripens much faster. We have some scallions, 2 sweet potatoes. And I don't know if you guys saw, there was a TikTok post where this woman is, she's swearing that when you freeze your sweet potatoes and then you bake them, they're much, much creamier. So I'll be testing that out. That comes from my freezer. I froze a sweet potato or a yam, whichever one this is. And I'm going to go ahead and try it. But right now we've got these 2. We have a lime. This is organic vegan mayo. Normally I skip the mayo. It's just extra fat that I don't need. And I already have this, which is my good fat. And how is this made? All right, so they tell me that I can go to a website to find out how that mayo is, what the ingredients are. But I'd imagine it's pretty clean, so it's up to you whether or not you would use this. Polenta. Polenta. What do you do with this little bit of polenta? Let's take a look. Oh, you sprinkle it on the tofu. You coat the tofu and you bake it. All right. Then we have some wild rice. What's that? About a half a cup wild rice. So this would serve 2 people if you did a nice big salad as well, because typically when I make food, I always have a salad with it. And what were the mushrooms for? What were the mushrooms for? What were the mushrooms for? I don't know. What were the mushrooms for? No clue. I don't know what that's for. All right, so this is really wonderful. You have your recipes, you have your ingredients. So somebody that is really busy, doesn't have time, this is really great to use. Again, if you're trying to lose weight with a plant-based diet, be aware of your salt content, your sugar content, and the oil that you're using. Let me see what you have to say here. Hey, Viv, it's nice to see you too. Yeah, you know, I've been just going through some personal shit. I've been a little bit depressed and trying to figure out, you know, just childhood shit is coming up again. So I had to retreat. And that's what I do is I retreat and then I isolate myself, and then it takes me a while to come out of it. But so just bear with me as I get my legs back again, okay? No kidding. Thanks, Viv. Appreciate that. All right. So I like the fact that, you know, you could get a meal kit from Purple Carrot where it's one of those you know, that you can buy it at the grocery store and you just throw it in the freezer. And I guess that you know, take off the cover and you could nuke it or put it in the oven. But what I learned from starting out being plant-based is the more that you rely on processed foods, the more that you rely on already prepared meals, it's going to be more of a challenge for you to really you know, make your own food and learn about the different spices and the different ingredients that you can put together. And then I also find that those packaged meals, it's not enough to satisfy me, and I'm going to be hungry again. All right. So again, if you don't know me, I'm Lydia. I'm your plant-based food coach. You can go to my feed and you can see my amazing dishes. You'll see them. They're full, they're big. And so many people say, oh my God, you're going to eat all of that? Yes, bitch, I'm going to eat all of it. All of it. And I love it. And I've kept the weight off. As much as you see me eat, I keep the weight off because there's a certain way that I eat. Anyhow, so far so good with Purple Carrot. I like that they're giving you this stuff. Another thing, when you buy prepackaged or, you know, food that is sent to you, they give you small amounts, and I like to have extra. So that way I can pull from meals during the week. But it's good to have this. Again, the tomatoes are a little bit concerning to me because a lot of them are kind of squished, but you could make sun-dried tomatoes out of this easily. You can put this in soup, etc. So don't be scared if it's not perfect. All right, I would still use this. It has been in the ice, so I would just set this aside, keep it in the refrigerator. All right. Limes can stay out. It's a little hard, or that's a lemon. Again, avocado, you want to go ahead and make sure that this is softer. It's going to take probably a good 4 or 5 days for this to get ripe. Rice, polenta, scallions, vegan mayo. It'll take you a while if you're used to using mayo on your sandwiches or in your food. Just be wary of this. Make sure you check out what's in it. And then we have the garlic here. What else do we have? All right. So 3 meals. All right, next up is the mac and cheese. Let's take a look at that. And I don't eat mac and cheese really because I'm an addict when it comes to pastas or breads or grains, and that's why I don't do a lot of it. And it's a gateway drug. I call it a gateway drug for me. So if I have a little bit, I'm not one that can have a little bit. I'm going to have a lot of it, and I'm going to eat it for the rest of my week. So that's why I tend to stay away from it. But when I see my son, I know certain meals that he likes to eat, so I will go ahead and make that. But let's check out what Purple Carrot has to say. How are they making their mac and cheese? Okay. Aha. So it's mac and cheese with thyme, roasted mushrooms, and tomato cream. And look at that. Looks delish, right? Now I'll make this, like I said previously, I'll make a mac and cheese with a cashew cream, and that's super easy to make. You just basically take a handful of raw cashews, you throw it in a bowl with water, you let it soak for about 4 hours. You take off the water, throw it in your food processor, throw in some garlic, a little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper, nutritional yeast. That's what makes things cheesy. So, and then put it in a bullet, and that's all that it takes. Okay, so this meal prep service is through Purple Carrot. And if you go to my profile link, you'll see at the very top there is, it says, use my affiliate code or something like that. But right now they have a summer special where you can get $50 off of your first order. So I think that it's worth trying. What did I do with that? I had a breakdown. But basically, I think that if you get three of their meals, your first order is 3 meals, which is good for 2 people. With the $50 off, your first order, I think, is about $29. So it is absolutely worth trying. Okay? Let's take a look at this mac and cheese. It says cavatappi pasta right here. Again, I'm not a big pasta eater, and if I would do pasta, I would probably have like a chickpea pasta or a lentil pasta rather than a flour pasta. Nutritional yeast and have been wanting to make mac and cheese. Great, Viv. I'm really glad that you're going to try it. Again, it's super easy. And I'll look at the screen again, but I'll just show you how much I would make. I'll go to my pantry over there and I'll show you my cashews and how I would make it, okay? But right now we've got our pasta. What do they have here? They give you nutritional yeast, and this nutritional yeast seems like it would be, I don't know, a healthy, let's take a look at that. To me, that's a healthy tablespoon. Again, the cheesier you want your mac and cheese, the more nutritional yeast that you use. And what I love about nutritional yeast as well is that it's your vitamin B12, and it has protein. So if you have about 2 healthy tablespoons of nutritional yeast, you've got about, I'd say 8 to 10 grams of protein. All right, so that's lovely. What else do they have here? They have some dried thyme, tomato powder. And that's another thing with these tomatoes. You could also go ahead and take these tomatoes, split them open, do just a very light layer of, rub your hands with some olive oil, put them on your tomatoes, throw them in the oven for about 350, 375, dry them out. And when they're really dried, you could go and, dehydrate them, and then you could make your own tomato powder. But you've got a little bit of tomato powder here. This is white miso paste, which is nice. This gives it a nice umami flavor. It's kind of like an earthy flavor to me. And the absolute best vegan plant-based butter is Miyoko's. Can you see that? Miyoko's. Now this is an oat milk butter. This is salted. Again, I tend to do my butters without salt if I'm going to use butter, right? There's that. All-purpose flour. What is this? What is this? Almond milk. There's your almond milk. It has an expiration date of 8/20. Let me just taste it, because usually I get unsweetened almond milk. I can't imagine that this would be sweetened. Basic, good, delicious. You can also make your own almond milk. That's easy to make. They have some pumpkin seeds. And then they have some vegan cheddar cheese. Now, I don't usually use any of the plant-based cheeses, and I'll tell you why. Because I'm part Dutch, and my family was big on cheese. I'm still a cheese lover. I don't eat it, but when I think about cheese, I think about all of the delicious, goudas and the bries and the camemberts and, all different types of cheeses. And it generally tastes a little bit plastic to me, and it doesn't taste very good to me. But I think that for people that are trying to go plant-based and you're trying to slowly get away from your cheese, your dairy, etc., it's a good option. But again, I wouldn't use a lot, because a lot of these are made with, your fillers. It's made with oils. So just know, just because it's plant-based doesn't mean that it is fat-free. All right. And not everything has to be fat-free, but again, I don't know. That's just my take on it. Let me taste it. No. That's a no for me. I would just as soon make this mac and cheese without this cheese. So this is not for me. It might be for somebody else. But again, I do like the fact that you have everything here that you need to make something. And also what I like about it is that everything is in a package for you, so you know what goes together. And if you happen to go with purple carrot and you're making this, you'll get into a rhythm, you'll see how it's made. And then after you do it, 2, 3, 4 times, you know exactly what ingredients you need. And then you can start to make your own mac and cheese or your own rice pilaf with the ingredients that you have. So that's great. I like pretty much everything that they gave me. The only thing that I would skip is the cheese, just because that's just not my thing. All right. And then with your coconut tofu, remember, with your tofu, if you want that meaty consistency, you definitely want to freeze your tofu. Freeze it for a couple of hours, take it out, squeeze all of the water. When people tell you that you need a tofu press, that's bullshit. You have 2 hands, go over the sink and squeeze your tofu. If it's too big for your hands, cut it in half and then keep Keep squeezing, all right? So that's good. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to pop it in the freezer right now. All right, so we're cool. I like that. Let me take a look at their mushrooms. Yeah, their mushrooms look good. That's fantastic. All right, so I will try how they make it. I'll go ahead and I'll film it and I'll post it. Also, another thing why I haven't been posting as well is that I have absolutely no more storage on my phone. So I have to keep dumping video and then trying to take new video. So that's another reason. All right. So that's not for me. That I will do away with. All right, so Viv, let me show you. Hang on one sec. Let me get this out of the way. Let me move this camera a little bit. I'm sure that you've seen my pantry over here. Two sides. It's a little bit of a mess right now, but this is my dried goods pantry. It took me a while to figure out that if I really want to be plant-based, I can only have plant-based food at home. And the reason why I have a big pantry like this is because it forces me to cook. It really does. There are a lot of times when I walk around my kitchen when I don't feel like cooking, and I think to myself, damn, I wish, I could just grab something out of the refrigerator or the freezer. And that's why I do batching and I prep my food. But everything I have in here, you have to make it. There's no way around it. But let me show you the cashew. So before I do this, I want to thank Purple Carrot, just in general. I thought it was great that they sent that to me. I definitely am going to try other Purple Carrot meals. I do want to try their kits to see what that's like, but I think that it's a fantastic option. And where's my piece of paper? Hang on a minute, because I want to tell you the pricing of Purple Carrot. Oops. Is it here? Okay. So again, if you go to my bio link, you'll see at the very top, you can go ahead and order your Purple Carrot. They're having a summer special where you get $50 off of your first order. So your first order, at least what you saw that I had, which was the three recipes per week that serves 2 people. That is $79.50 a week. So basically $80 a week. But if you order it as a first time purchase, then you will only pay $29.50. So I think it's worth, trying. And then you have the option. You can either choose prepared meals or you can do the meal kits like I just showed you. And so for instance, if you want to have 3 meals a week that serves 4 people, then you would be paying, your weekly price will be $132. If you wanted to serve 4 people and only have 2 meals a week, that'll cost you $88. If you wanted to have serve 2 people, 4 meals, that's $106 a week. But again, go to my bio link, click on it, and you'll be able to get that summer special, $50 off of your first order. So if you've been wondering, That's the way to do it. All right, so let's go and talk about how to make your cheesy sauce. Super, super simple. And I am going to make a recipe, so I'll go ahead and soak my beans right now. Let me see how my other computer is doing here. Oh well, I suck. I suck at that, but I can always get better. All right, so we're gonna take a bowl. We have our cashews, and if you notice all of my labels have what's the iron content, what's the calcium, what's the protein amount in it. And that's because, you know, most people want to know, what's the protein content? How much calcium am I getting? Am I getting enough iron from it? And so the labels that I created, every single one of my labels in my pantry has the amounts in there. Same thing with my nutritional yeast. So it's cashews, nutritional yeast. You can use a little bit of salt, but I only flavor things with salt at the end. Like when I'm making soups or I'm making a certain dish, I'll go ahead and I'll make it, and then I'll wait until it's almost done. I'll taste it. I might add a little bit of salt, or I might dish it up individually in their bowls or on the plate, and then people can salt it. And the reason why I do that is because you use less salt. All right? So there's your salt. There's your pepper. I have some garlic. And I have a paprika. I have a paprika here. And then I have a smoky paprika. So you can flavor your cheesy sauce whatever way you want to flavor it. All right? But these are my go-tos here. So that goes there. I always buy raw cashews. That way I know it's in it. I know nothing extra has been added in it. It still has all of the enzymes. And I'm going to usually take about, I'd say half a cup. I usually don't use cups. I measure by hand. So I'm 5'10", all right? My hands are, you know, good size. But if you go and you cup your hand like this and you throw in your cashews, so it just fills the palm of your hand, that's about a half a cup. Let me show you. Half a cup. Half a cup. All right? You throw in your half a cup. And then I'm going to put some water on top of it. And I go sparingly with my nuts because even though nuts are good for you, they still have a lot of fat. It's good fat, but still, if you're trying to lose weight or watch your weight or maintain your weight, don't go crazy. This cheesy sauce is delicious, but don't go crazy, all right? So you can do a half a cup. If you do 1 cup, then you can save half of it for later, all right? So you're gonna let this soak for, I'd say, 3-4 hours. If you don't have the time to wait, you need to make something really fast. What you could do is boil some water, take your kettle, boil some water, and then instead of using regular water to have it soak for 2 to 4 hours, you can pour the hot water directly on top of your cashews and let it sit there for about 20 minutes or so, and then you can go ahead and use it. All right. So all you need to do is once your cashews are ready, then you can drain off the water and you can put it in a NutriBullet. You can put it in your food processor, and you're going to want to start off, I'd say, with 3 tablespoons of your nutritional yeast. And again, the more nutritional yeast you add, the cheesier it will be. And And then you want to add things to taste. And some people aren't sure what that means, add to taste. Well, whatever tastes good to you. All right. So typically I'm a heavy garlic user. So I would use for myself, because all of my food is really, really heavily spiced. And that was also a key to me being able to stay plant-based, is that the more I spice things up, it just tastes better to me, because when I go out to restaurants or I order things, that's one of my biggest complaints, is that there is no flavor to it at all. And so I'll even go around with my little packets of tapatio or sriracha that I keep in my bag at all times, just in case something's not flavorful. Anyhow, so regular garlic powder. You can use fresh garlic if you want as well. Just know that you're going to have a stronger flavor with the fresh garlic, but I do mix the two of them, and then your salt and pepper. Again, all of this is going to go into your food processor. Go ahead and zap it until it's super, super smooth. And there's your cheesy sauce, honey. So you can use that over your pastas. You can use it instead of mayonnaise. You can put that on a piece of bread as well and use that in place of it. You can use it on your roasted vegetables. It doesn't matter, but that's the easiest way to make your cheesy sauce. I'm not going to make it now because I'm going to let this soak naturally, but that's the easy way. So hopefully that helps you, Viv. It's so simple. It is so simple. Now, my go-tos here are, to use the paprika or the smoky paprika. But whatever flavor you like, put it in. And the way that I make things is that, I think of being plant-based and cooking plant-based, that you're an artist, right? So you get to mix your different spices and your herbs together. Sometimes I even take my cashew cheese and I might chop up some cilantro and put it in there. Another wonderful way to make your mac and cheese taste a little bit different is if you take a little bit of jalapeno and you throw some jalapeno in there so it's a little bit more spicy. All right, so that is my suggestion for you. And if you're not sure of the flavors, mix up your cashew the way that I told you in your NutriBullet or your food processor, and then just take a little bit off to the side, maybe a quarter cup, and start to experiment with different spices that you might like. All right, so that way you won't ruin the whole thing. You'll just have maybe a quarter cup where you taste and you're like, ew, that was disgusting. All right, so that's what I'll be doing later, is making my cashew cheese. I do have a sweet tooth this weekend, so I'm going to make some cookies. So if you have questions, you can go ahead and ask them if you like. Or you can watch me make my cookies. Let's see here. My cookies. Rolled oats. Banana. Vanilla. You're welcome, Viv. And I've been trying to stay away from sugar because that's my downfall, really. But I am going to make some cookies, and what I do use is I use Lily's chocolate chips because it's made from stevia. Oh no, you know what? These aren't Lily's. This is a new brand that I had tried. They sent me this, and I haven't put up the video yet, but I do want to show you. It's called Miro, and I really like these chocolate chips. And they also have a peanut butter flavor chocolate chip. And what I like about it is that there is zero sugar in this. and it still tastes delicious. So I'll end up mixing those two together. And the one thing that I've learned is that I will not make, I'll only make enough cookies for me to eat in that day, or maybe a little bit, whatever's left over the next day, because again, I'm an addict when it comes around to that stuff. So I'm only going to make enough for me to eat. And even if it's really good, like how I'm making it now. What else? Okay, cookies. I usually get raw coconut, and I like to go ahead and toast these. It only takes about, I'd say, a minute, 2 minutes at the most in a toaster oven to toast your coconut, and it tastes much better. And anytime I do any kind of roasting of the nuts, I have a jar that I just throw everything into so I could use it all at once. I don't like to waste things. All right, so first off, let's get another bowl. It's for my bananas. Again, another super easy, guilt-free thing that you can make. You can make this after you make your purple carrot meals. Banana's nice and soft. I really don't care about my dark spots here. How long have I been plant-based? 20 years. 20 years. Now, 20 years, not strictly 100% plant-based. I weaved in and out of being vegetarian and then leaning more towards the vegan side. Cheese was really hard for me to let go of. When I got down to being really good, primarily plant-based, once a year I decided on my birthday that, oh my God, I needed a steak or I needed some prawns. But after a while, I didn't even like that anymore. And once, you work all of that stuff out of your repertoire, so to speak, you realize that you don't need it. And nowadays, mind you, this was a long time ago, and nowadays you have so many different plant-based food items that you could substitute. But typically, even though I lean towards being vegan, I would say that I am 98%, 97% vegan. But I don't call myself vegan because I will never give up a pastry or a cookie, knowing full well that there's probably butter in it, might be eggs in it. But when I have those things, I'm still going to eat it. And I don't give up chocolate either, even though I'm using these good vegan chocolate chips. When it comes to regular chocolate, I will eat it. So, and then, things might have honey in it. I'm not going to give up on that either. I'm not going to be super extreme with myself. I tend to be a perfectionist, so I have to give myself a little bit of leeway so I don't beat myself up. All right, so let's get back to the cookies. So the cookies, all I do, I don't know if you've made this before, but it's really easy. I take my banana and I just squish it up. I'm going to end up throwing just a little bit of peanut butter in here as well, and some vanilla and some cinnamon. Let's do that quickly. And once you get the hang of this as well, it'll take you no time at all. Again, I don't measure anything. I just do it according to my taste. And I've been making it for so long now, but I don't know, maybe this is half a teaspoon, something like that. What else did I have? Cinnamon. I'm going to put a little bit of cinnamon in it. And you'll notice even my spices have labels on them. These are labels that I made because when I started out, I wasn't sure, what spices could I use and what were they used for. So all of my labels tell me. I don't need to look at it anymore, but The labels tell me what I could make. All right, so we have that. We have that. I will add a little bit of peanut butter. If you wanted to make it super, super healthy, you could also go ahead and put some flax meal in there. Those are your good omegas. That's what it looks like. Mix it all together. We'll use about a cup of the oats. And a lot of people just put the regular oats in. I like to put it in my coffee grinder. I have a special grinder that is just for my nuts and my flours. And hang on a moment, I'm having a hot flash. I gotta get my fan. Have menopause, have fan, we'll travel. All right. Let me put that there. Oh yeah, that's it. I'm not turning on the stove yet because that would absolutely kill me. Happy Sunday, Monica. Nice to see you. Shannon, hey. All right, Shannon, I talked about this previously. The key to your tofu is you have to, when you buy your tofu, buy it firm or extra firm, and you want to take that tofu and throw it in your freezer. And you want to freeze it for a couple of hours until it is hard. By doing that, it changes the consistency of your tofu. When you're ready to use it, take it out, let it defrost. I just, plop it in the sink. I let it defrost. I cut away the plastic, and then I just take my two hands and I squish it together. Let me show you. All right, as I was talking about purple carrot in their meal kit, they give you the tofu like this, okay? If you want, you can absolutely just chop this up, put it in some, like a starch, a potato flour, something like that, and coat it, and then you could fry it up. But I don't like to fry stuff. I'll put everything in the air fryer or in the oven because I don't need the extra oil. But even this came in the meal kit. I'm taking this immediately and I'm throwing it in the freezer. So whenever I'm out and about and I see that tofu is on sale, I'm going to grab a couple packets. So this is my tofu that I froze, and I use it. I'll take it out. You take it out, and then once you defrost it, just stand over the sink and press all of the water out of it. Once all of the water is out of it, then you can go ahead and cube it or slice it and let it sit in a marinade for a half an hour or overnight, whatever marinade you want, and then just put it in the air fryer. It's going to have that meaty consistency. It's amazing. That's the only way that I make my tofu. All right. Anyhow, I will be making tofu later, so I'm setting this aside. So hopefully that answered your question. Did I say Sharon or Shannon? Shannon, sorry about that, Shannon. Yeah, tofu does expire. They all have an expiration date, but as soon as I buy it, I put it in the freezer. I could keep it in the freezer for 6 months. I'm not worried about the expiration date because I froze it. My problem comes into play when I pull it out and then I pop it into my refrigerator and I'm either too lazy or I forget or, and then I realize that it is past expiration date. If you don't want to use your tofu right away or you don't want to squeeze out the water, the way that I keep my tofu in the refrigerator if I'm making a different type of a recipe is I will take my tofu, use what I want from it, and then I'm going to take that tofu and put it in a container. I'll fill the container with water and put a lid over it, and then I'll put it in the refrigerator. Okay? But normally my MO is that I will take it out of the freezer, squeeze off the water, take what I need from it, and then I'm going to put it in a Ziploc baggie and I'll pop it back up in the freezer. Again, because I don't want food to go bad, and that is my safety right there. All right. So hopefully that answers your question. Back to the cookies. Here we have a mix of banana, just about a teaspoon of unsweetened, unsalted, unsweetened Trader Joe's peanut butter. And I put a little bit of vanilla in this. You could put some almond extract in this, whatever you want. All right. So what I have to do is let me go and get my grinder. So you know how you have your coffee grinder if you're a coffee drinker? I bought an extra one, and this is specifically for nuts, for flour, for if I want to grind flaxseed or something like that. I have one, and I think that there was a sale, and I think that I picked it up for maybe, I don't know, $10 at the most, but I love it. I love it, and I use it all the time. So let me plug this in. Let me see if I have some room over here. I don't. All right, well, I'll grind it over there. So again, this is for my chocolate chip cookies. I feel like I need something sweet this Sunday. And I only make as much as I'm going to eat because I am an addict and I don't want to have that much left over. All right, so again, I'm going to use about a cup. And I'm just going to use my hand. We talked about that before. And if I fill up the palm of my hand, that is about a half a cup. And I know that I need 1 cup. Okay? So there's my oatmeal. You can make these cookies just like this, using this, but I like to go the extra step and just grind it up. If you have a mortar and pestle, you can use that as well. Let's see. Yeah, small batches. Listen, I'm an addict once it comes to food. If you put potato chips in front of me, I'm not the kind of girl that's going to go and eat, whatever it says that the portion size is, 12 potato chips. No, bitch. I'm going to eat that big ass fucking bag. And that bag, I'm going to think, okay, well, I've already ruined my diet, so I might as well have chips during the whole week. So I have to have these little things in place where I am not going to sabotage myself. And that's just the way that I do it. All right. To use vanilla extract or almond extract for the cookies. It all depends on my mood. Right now I'm using vanilla extract. I think it was last weekend or so, I used some almond extract. So whatever, floats your boat. All right. And what you could do is you could go ahead and make 1 batch before you put in your extract, divide it in half, make half with vanilla, half with the almond. All right. So here we are. I'm going to grind this up a little bit. Hang on. And that's all it took for me to make my oatmeal flour. Look at this. Can you see the difference? Look at it. It's a much finer consistency. I can't stand those big oatmeal flakes when I have cookies. So that is how I'm doing it. Thank you. Thanks, Viv. All right. Now, if you've been following me, you'll notice that I use nuts, but I only use a little bit of nuts. Again, nuts are good for you, good nutrients, good omegas, etc. But if you eat too much of it, I'm going to sabotage myself. That's also why I don't eat, what do you call that? Like a trail mix? Because again, addict here, I'm not going to eat just a little bit of the trail mix. I'm going to eat the whole damn bag. All right, so I only do a little bit at a time. And I have a toaster oven that I've had for a while. I will always roast my coconut. I buy raw coconut. I go to the bulk bins at like Sprouts and I'll buy it. And I'm just going to take a little bit. That's about a half a cup right here. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go and toast this. It'll take about a minute, minute and a half for these to get nice and toasty. Hang on. Super simple, nothing special. And you know, down the road when I do more lives, I'll hopefully be able to shift things around or have my toaster oven here, but that's it, just like this. And this is raw coconut, it's unsweetened, all right? I have that about 375 to 400. All right, so we have that. Let me put this stuff away. Next up, I know that I want to, even though I have peanut butter in here, and the peanut butter is really to help bind it. And I said previously that if you want to make this, you know, uber healthy, you could go ahead and put some flax meal in here. You could also, for added protein, you could go and toast some hemp seed. And that's the only way that I like hemp seed, is having it toasted. And you could sprinkle some of that on here. That's, you know, that's an extra good protein right there. I'm going to use some walnuts. Again, I go, you know, the extra mile, and the extra mile takes you all of an extra 2 minutes. So I'm going to take this. Once my coconut is done, I'm going to go ahead and toast this as well. And the reason why I don't toast them together is because my coconut is going to take about a minute and a half, 2 minutes max, but my walnuts are going to take a little bit longer. And I can share something with you. I burn my nuts all the time, because it doesn't take that long to toast them. So I'm just going to go ahead and crush these up. What else can I tell you guys? So I started off cooking back in the day, you know, probably when I was about, I'd say 12 years old, something like that. You know, we grew up really poor. My mom was out of the house. She was working. She was cleaning houses. She worked with different organizations, NAACP. She worked with Women Organized Against Rape. And there was myself. Oh, fuck. What was that? A minute and a half? Burnt. God damn it. All right, we're starting over. Back to the drawing board. Half a cup. Round two. I'm going to try that again. Damn it. As soon as you smell your coconut, you're screwed. You've burnt them. All right, so that's when I was about 12 years old, because my mom was out working and there was, 4 of us kids. And I used to watch her cook. I started to I started to just experiment with food, and I made sure that, when my mom came home, that I would have these different meals that were, had different themes to them. Sometimes I made a Japanese meal, sometimes I made, a Middle Eastern meal, and then that's how I started to learn how to cook. And I remember, and this was back when we were meat eaters. I remember my younger sister, she didn't want anything to do with fish or shrimp and so on. And I remember that I made these like shrimp dumplings. And she'd asked me, she looked at me suspiciously and said, is this shrimp? Is this shrimp? And I lied and I said no, because I wanted to see her eat it. And after she finished eating it, I asked her, did you like it? Was it good? And she was like, yeah, it was delicious. And then I was like, well, you just ate shrimp. And she just about, she had a shit fit, just about killed me. Hey, thanks, Monica. Appreciate it. I hope you have a good Sunday too. I'm glad that you were here. All right. So I'm waiting for the coconut, which is almost done. What was it, a minute and a half? Okay, so here's my coconut. That's fine. I'll leave this out. If I wasn't talking to y'all, I'd be standing right next to it, but this is fine. I'm going to use this coconut here. I'm going to let this cool down. What else can I use? As you can see, I wasn't very prepared, so this is all impromptu. All right, there's our coconut. I'm letting it cool. And now I'm going to throw on the walnuts. You can use any kind of walnuts, or you can just skip it. And for anybody that's arrived, I'm making some oatmeal cookies. All right, I'm going to put these in for about 3 minutes. Okay, so let's go back to our so-called batter. And the batter is bananas, vanilla, a little bit of unsweetened, unsalted peanut butter. I used about a half a teaspoon, right? And then what I did was I took oats, regular oats, and I put them in my grinder. And I have a special grinder that is just for nuts and flours. So this is about a cup. I'm just going to throw it in here. We'll mix that up. Again, this is so simple. So I used to, once a week I would go out and I would buy a goodie, but, and it could be a bag of cookies or something like that, but I'm trying to steer away from that because that bag would be a big bag. And my rule was that I could bring something in on a Friday, but it'd have to leave the house by the time Sunday morning hits. So this is just a better way for me to control what I'm eating and how much I'm eating. All right, my coconut has cooled down, so I'm just going to take a handful of that, and I'm just going to crush it over top. And I do that because I want maximum flavor. I hate boring, and that's why I just do the extra couple of steps, right? And again, use as much as you want. And the more you make these, you'll discover how you like it and what you want to include. Almost. We got about a minute with that. I'll put this aside. Okay, we have that. Now, I like chocolate chips, so I'm going to use as much as I want. I always start off with about a half a cup. guilt-free. And this is Miro. They were kind enough to send this to me, and I really like this chocolate. It's guilt-free for me, so I'm going to use a half a cup of that. And they also have their peanut butter chocolate chips, so why not throw that in there as well? I'll use a little less. Okay, those are done, and all I'm waiting for is these nuts. That's it. Super easy. And they're delicious. They're a little bit chewy, which I don't mind. I'll go ahead and make some, and then I can also throw these in the freezer and pull them out when I want them. So that's the lovely thing. And again, if you have the ingredients on hand, you can make them whenever you want to. And if you're trying to introduce your kids, if you have kids and you're trying to introduce them into plant-based cooking, have them make it with you. That's how I, helped my son become plant-based. Number one, I only cooked plant-based. And number two, I figured out how to make plant-based foods that he would like. And then I asked him to help me make them as well. So here are the walnuts that I'm going to be adding. And I didn't burn them, which is great. So I just want to chop these up a little bit finer. So who is plant-based? The couple of you that are here. Are you fully plant-based? Are you vegan? Are you starting out? What are you trying to establish? You just want to eat some more greens? I'm curious. I know that we're all in different stages of our plant-based journey. I've been plant-based for, 20 years. Started off not knowing how I was going to let go of meat because I was a big meat eater. We're talking bacon cheeseburgers, steaks, pork chops, carnitas, all of that good stuff. Let me see. Great. I'm glad, Viv, that you make that together. Yeah, the thing with the hard part about being plant-based is there are a couple of things that were kind of difficult for me. Is number one, I had to shut out the noise of all of the gurus or the public opinion saying that, you can't be healthy if you're plant-based. You won't get enough protein. You won't get enough this. You won't get enough that. It's like, when you're pregnant and everybody tells you what you need to know because they're the fucking expert and they haven't even had a child. So I had to shut out all of that noise. And then I really had to rely on my own body. And I, now with everything from mad cow disease to crazy bird disease to, all kinds of things that are showing up in the food system, I had to trust myself and I had to trust my body. And I took things slowly. I started to first take out the red meat, and then I let go of the chicken, and then I let go of the fish, and that was at a time when there wasn't all of this, the plant-based options that you have now. I had to slowly take those things out. The hardest thing for me was letting go of the cheese. That was really difficult for me. And that probably took the longest. I weaned myself off of it. And you know what? Consistency was difficult for me as well. But here's the thing. What's that saying? Rome wasn't built in a day. If you are a nurse or you're an engineer or you're an attorney, you didn't learn how to be an attorney or a nurse or an office manager or a mechanic overnight. You had to learn certain steps. So it just takes time. And if you give yourself small goals, knowing that this is what you want in the long term, this is not a diet for me. It is not a diet, because a diet for me is a quick fix. You want to drop the weight and then you want to forget about it and move on. This is really a way of life. So, consistency is, yeah, it's difficult, but if you set yourself up for success, it gets easier. So I make sure in my house, I have to make all of my own food. There are a lot of days when I don't want to cook. I don't want to chop. In the beginning, I felt like I needed to take out a fucking cot in my kitchen because I felt like I was in my kitchen all the time chopping stuff. It gets easier. It's just that, pick a day, pick whether that's a Monday or a Wednesday or a Friday, and say to yourself, you know what, on those days, that's when I'm going to just make a plant-based meal. Choose one day and know that every Wednesday, train yourself. That's the day where I'm going to be plant-based. Or if you just want to have your regular meals, you can say to yourself, you know what, instead of having a big ass T-bone steak, you know what, I'm going to take a smaller cut and I'm going to load up more on vegetables. So it's, creating those little tricks for yourself. Yeah, I get headaches when I eat too much sugar as well. I get headaches also when I realize they don't have a lot of magnesium. So I've incorporated more magnesium. And I don't know how old you are, Viv, but, when you get older, you realize certain things that you need in your body as your hormone levels are changing. All right. So I'm talking, this has taken me a little bit to put this together because I'm talking to you, but really this takes all of 5 minutes to make. And I guarantee your kid will like it. And you can decide the first time that you make it, it might not be sweet enough for you. Rather than putting sugar in it, add an extra banana, okay? Or add a little bit more of your vanilla. All right, so I'm going to put a little bit of my walnuts in there. Oops. Again, because I just want this to be, what I consider to be not bland. I want it to be a little bit more special. So this is it. So let's get ready. Let me clean this up. This away. Clean it up later. So any kind of my walnuts that I have left over, my nuts that I have left over, it's just going to go into my everything jar. So when I make like a fruit salad, or I make a regular salad and I want to sprinkle some nuts over, I'm going to pull from that jar. All right, so I don't waste it. All right. Clean this up. Let me go ahead and preheat. And then once I do that, I will have to move someplace else because I will get too hot. All right, so 375. Here we go. Nice and easy. Let's see here. 46. I remember 46. I still feel 46, but I'm 58. 58. I don't mind 58. It's just like now I just really need to live life, right? Because you need to. Anything can happen. And last year was super difficult for me. It was rough. So last year, maybe it was a little bit longer, but I was estranged from my father, but still loved my father. He died. My aunt had died. My dog died. My brother died. And that's what threw me into, the downward spiral of being depressed. And I don't really have family around me. I mean, I'm grateful that I have, 2 nieces and a nephew who tap into me, but I don't have family at all. Family is out there, but I'm not part of the family. So that also threw me into a depression. Anyhow, that's for another day. That's a topic for another day. And also, being plant-based, I really didn't know anybody that was, like my network of people weren't plant-based. So the consistency for me that you talked about, Viv, is that, once I got a handle on how to be plant-based, I had to set myself up for success. And that meant, as I mentioned previously, having food in my house that would only support my goals. When I went outside of the house, that was my danger zone. So I would have to do little things like, if I was going out to a restaurant, I would either look on the menu ahead of time to see what they would have for me. So I knew before I got to the restaurant what I would order. Or, sometimes when you're out with friends and you end up going to dinner and I'm like, fuck, what am I going to eat? What am I going to eat in this place? And I learned that if you ask the manager of the restaurant, if you could speak to the chef will come and talk to you, I'd say probably 80-90% of the time. Or you just tell the manager, listen, I only eat vegetables. And I lie, I'll go and say, I'm strictly vegan. Just give me a vegetable dish with no oil, no salt, season it up. And then voila, I have a dish that is 10 times better than what my table companions are eating. So you have to do little things like that. In my glove box, in my car, there's always going to be some sort of plant-based snacks in there because I don't want to fail at being plant-based and my goal. And, I had a lot of weight that I had to lose. I had, that's one of the reasons why I started being plant-based. I had really bad ulcerative colitis. I had migraine headaches all the time. I had dandruff. I had eczema. What else? I had allergies. And slowly as I became plant-based, more and more plant-based, leaning more towards, being 100% plant-based, all of that went away. I still have colitis. I used to be on a whole host of drugs, but now I just take one drug twice a week, twice a month, and it's in remission. So that's a good thing. Now, do you see this? This is just enough for me to get my little fix. And there is no guilt in here. None. I know that I won't sabotage myself. I know that if I want to eat this whole thing, that I don't have to worry about it. Even my chocolate chips, it's with stevia, so I don't have to worry about that. Will I still have guilt? Yeah, because, I think that as women, like I said, I'm 58, so I've had a good 45 years of dieting. And I think that we're all kind of mentally fucked up around the dieting and what we put in our mouth. But I will have some mental stuff going on if I eat this all in one sitting. But still, this is a good way to make your cookies. Just make enough. And I make sure that I don't have any leftovers. So, all right, I got a little bit more, another 50 degrees before I can go ahead and pop that in. Perimenopause. Yeah, it's a bitch. I had a hysterectomy. I had fibroid, probably about 10, 11 years ago. So I've been having hot flashes and going through the whole menopause bit for a good 10 years. And it sucks. Oh, peace, Angel. That's very sweet. Thank you so much. You know what? I keep coming back to y'all because I feel like you're family. And I think to myself, oh, I haven't I haven't posted, I haven't touched base for a while. And, it's really a matter of me just getting out of my own head. And that's why I keep coming back to y'all, because it's really not about me. It's about me helping you, not only being plant-based, but getting out of the diet mode, because again, diet is about lack. It is about restriction, and everything that I do is about abundance. I want to eat abundantly. If I want to eat a trough fucking salad with everything in it in the kitchen sink, then I'm going to eat that, knowing that I'm going to be eating healthy and it's going to be good for my body. Yeah, perimenopause. The more that you focus on, is this healthy? Is it healthy? Is it serving my body? Is it keeping me healthy? Because the older you get, I think the more that you want to focus on, is it healthy and what am I putting in my body? And then again, just being consistent. Okay. Cookies are going in. All right, we set the timer. It'll be about, I'd say, I'll check it at 10 minutes. It'll be about 12 minutes, I'd say. All right, so we got that. I'm going to step outside. So I don't have much juice left on my phone, and the kitchen is getting hot, and I can't be in there. So I'm going to step outside. All right, let me see here. All right, so any other questions? What do you need help with? What do you need help with? Viv, what are you doing with your son? What kind of foods are you making him? I'm curious about that. When I had said to my son, when I decided to go plant-based, it was just me going plant-based. And at the time I had I'll put this in air brackets, significant other, who turned out not to be very significant, and was a meat eater, and my son as well. And I just made sure that I made my food so damn delicious, and I concentrated on my food. And eventually they wanted to eat the food that I was eating. And so with my son, I let him still have his chicken nuggets and, what else did he eat? His chicken nuggets. I think he liked his hot dog and his pizza. And I really wanted him to make the decision to be plant-based. And so I would have him help me cook. I would make my delicious plates of food, and he would have his little nuggets, but he always took from me, and I always gave him what I was eating. And then when he was about 12, and my son is 25 now, but when he was 12, he had made the decision that he wanted to be plant-based. And he announced it. Okay, Mom, I'm going to be plant-based. And I swung my head around and I was like, really? And he's like, yeah, I think I want to be plant-based now. And I said, okay, you need to know that if we are plant-based, the two of us together, everything in here that is not plant-based is either going to be thrown out or donated, but there is no turning back for me. Once you make that decision, that is it for me. And ever since then, he's been plant-based. He's more on the vegetarian side versus me more on the vegan side. But he's 25 and he can cook. He can cook really well. And, I'm happy that he made his own decision and that I set some good standards for him. Yeah, focusing on salads and lean meats for him. Mm-hmm. Yeah, the processed foods are really difficult, but, I really believe that things take time. And it is tough for kids also when they go to school, and they see their friends eating certain things. And I think that, if you do it gently and you do it slowly, that they'll come to that decision. And especially if you're making the food and you're, having him involved in it. Okay, 26, younger. Yeah. Hey, stopping to drink soda, that's a good thing. I ended up getting a soda stream. And I just like regular fizzy water, and I can add a splash of lemon or lime or something. Yeah, and my son, he's had a girlfriend for a while, and she did go plant-based for a little bit, but I think that she's back to eating meat. But he cooks, he does his own thing. Yeah, migraines. Yeah, I'm telling you, as soon as I went plant-based, my migraines went away. And then also now in my later years, if I don't do magnesium, I get bad migraines. So, and then, I tend to get stressed a lot. So I know that I'm a big time meditator. Um, I meditate usually once or twice a day, almost every day. And that has also helped me with my stress and my migraines. And I never thought I'd be able to meditate, but I'm also in an area where it's big on meditation and yoga and all of that stuff. So I ended up adopting it slowly, but I can't imagine not incorporating all of that. And it goes hand in hand. I think that, the more that you go plant-based, you start to see how your body feels, and your body feels so much better. And here's the other thing too. When I let go of dieting and all I focused in on was, okay, I want to be plant-based and I just want to put healthy food in my body. I'm only going to concentrate on the health. I didn't worry about dieting at all. I didn't weigh shit. I didn't count shit. No calories, no macros. I didn't even worry about fucking protein. Again, I'm getting rid of the noise out there, because pretty much everything has protein. You just have to know how to build your plates. And again, if you go back to my post, you'll see what my plates look like. I have another, 12 or 13 posts that I have to put out of the meals that I was making. But when I went plant-based and I just focused in on my health, the weight dropped without me even thinking about it. I used to be a size 21, 22 at my peak. And now I'd say pretty much a solid 12. And my weight for me, when I feel my thinnest, is probably around, 192. I pretty much stay around 196. And that's, pretty slim for me. So fuck the scale, fuck counting calories and macros, and focus in on eating healthy. Another way that that helped me is, I looked at my plate differently. I wanted to fill up my plate with good foods, and I adopted a method where it was either a 50-50 plate, where I would have 50% of, all of my vegetables, and then the other 50% would have my starchy stuff, whether that was, like my beans, my potatoes, or my grains. If I wanted to drop weight quite a bit, then I would switch from a 50-50 plate and I would do a 75-25 plate. But I just eat when I'm hungry. Yeah, I'm sick of dieting. And you know what the other thing too is? We're grown folks. I did not want to, get rid of the treat. If I wanted to eat a treat, or if I wanted to have a cocktail or some wine. So it's all about finding that balance and what works for you. But just remember that it's a process. It's a process, and you have to learn what works for you. So don't think of it as a diet. Just think of it as a lifestyle, and then it's going to be so much easier for you, really. The other thing that I did as well is I found that, when I went plant-based, what was a mind fuck for me was that I was eating so much more. And I was like, how is that possible that I could eat so much more and have these huge plates, and I was dropping weight without even thinking about it? Naturally, I started to do intermittent fasting. I didn't know that it was intermittent fasting. I just knew that I was going to eat until I was full. And the food that I was eating, I knew that it was good for me. I knew that it had the nutrients. I knew that it had, all of the protein that I needed. And I don't buy into this, BS that you have to have, what are they saying now?
you have to have like 50 grams of protein or 60 grams of protein at every meal. And oh my God, if you don't eat that, I call bullshit on that. Sorry. That's what fucked us up in the first place. Having to count stuff, having to restrict stuff. As soon as you go with a mindset of being more abundant and eating fully and enjoying your food and only eating when you're hungry, weight comes off. It really does. I would never go back ever again. And that's how I've maintained my 100-pound weight loss, by doing exactly that and cooking my food. That's not to say that I'm perfect, because I have moments where I'm like, you know what? I need to go and instead of making my burgers, I want an Impossible burger, or and I'm going to use, I'm not going to use Ezekiel bread. I'm going to have a regular bun, or I might drink too much wine, or I might decide, you know what? I do want that bag of Lay's, and not that tiny bag. I want that big ass bag, and I'm going to eat it. And will I feel guilty? Yeah, sure, because, I've spent however many years of dieting. It's still in there, but I'm at the point now where I know, okay, well, it's stupid if you're going to eat that big bag because it's got all that salt and oil in it, but go ahead, eat it, get it out of your system, and then get right back on track. And that's why I always end up saying, make healthy choices one meal at a time. I think my cookies are done. Hang on. Let's go check. Let me see. Let me take a look. Okay, I need 3 more minutes. Let me put that timer back on. All right, got to get out of the kitchen. It's too hot. Girl, honey, you can. You can do it easily. It just, like you said, it's consistency, right? But it's not an all or nothing thing. I tend to jump into things, and it's very black and white for me, where it's like all or nothing, and that's a big mistake. Take things slowly. Take simple steps, like I said, whether that is choosing a Monday or a Thursday and deciding, okay, just on that one day, I'm going to just be plant-based, and it'll grow from there. And again, if you haven't grabbed my free grocery list, that's also in my bio, take that, print it out, keep it in the car, or again, put it against your fridge, and only take the items that you enjoy and learn how to cook. Start from there. One meal at a time. Healthy choices, right? One meal at a time. And we're all on our different journeys, and we all decide what's healthy for us, right? My way might not be the right way for you. You might decide to do something else. And I just know that what works for me. I know that, being plant-based for 20 plus years, that's a long time. And keeping my weight off, almost 100 pounds, that's a long time. Whatever works for you. But start slowly, and then set yourself up at home. If I did not clean out my cabinets and make sure that my whole kitchen and my pantry was plant-based, I would be sabotaging myself every chance I get. Another issue is, when you have a partner, and what if your partner doesn't want to go plant-based? And you're like, fuck, how am I going to be able to be plant-based when I have to cook for my partner? And I don't want to go into the cabinet where, there's cookies and so on. Go ahead, and if you can afford it, get yourself one of those little mini fridges and tell everybody hands off. And that's where you keep your shit. Or maybe you have one section of the pantry that just has your good stuff, and you train yourself just to go to your pantry and your little fridge. And then the other thing too, make your food so fucking good and make their shit all bland that they will want to eat your plant-based stuff. I know it's mean, but still. Cookies, ready. Going back in. Plant-based for 8 years. Yes. Excellent. Hang on. Okay, cookies are coming out. And I'll show you the cookies. And then I probably have 5 minutes left on my phone. I have to contact like Canon, right? Canon or Panasonic and make a deal with them. I'll be like, you know what, Canon or Panasonic, please, can I have a free camera? And I will film on it all the time and let everybody know how great your camera is. All right. Cookies are done. Let me put you back in place here so I can show you. Oh, I gotta turn off. Bear with me, y'all. I have one of those cameras that follows me in the kitchen. Or not a tripod. All right, so here are my cookies. I just need to let them cool down. They're not going to be a hard cookie because of the bananas. They're going to be just a little bit soft. I can't wait. I might need to make another cup of coffee. Who is that? Tati Martin, 8 years. And lately, plant-based protein shake because of the bloating. Yeah, you know, bloating, make sure that you drink extra water. That will help with the bloating. And then also, I don't know if you do any kind of lymph node draining or if you even believe in that, but massaging, you know, your lymph nodes here, under your armpits, your waist, and so on, that will also help with your bloating. Yep, Viv, mini fridge, for real. I don't know if you have Nextdoor in your neighborhood, but I posted on Nextdoor and I asked for, did anybody have a little mini fridge? And I got one for free. And so I used that little mini fridge. And then again, having one shelf in the kitchen that is just for you, and then make all of your meals really delicious and make everybody else's bland. Because you'll be sitting there grubbing, eating all your delicious food. Yeah, so the recipe for the cookies, it's really easy. And what I'll do is, I think that after this live, I'll be able to download the video and I'll go ahead and I'll put it up on my YouTube channel. The link is also in my bio if you haven't subscribed. So for the cookies, it is just, I used 1 banana. I used a half a teaspoon or 1 teaspoon of unsweetened, unsalted peanut butter. And then I used a little bit of vanilla in there. And I took 1 cup of oats and I ground up the oats. You don't have to. I just like that consistency. 1 cup of oats. And I mixed that in. And I roasted some raw coconut strips. And I roasted or toasted some almonds. And threw everything together. And then normally I use Lily's, but Miro sent me their chocolate chips, and it's made with stevia, I believe. Let me see what these ingredients were. So this is they use a chocolate liqueur, a chicory root fiber, erythritol, cocoa butter, a little bit of salt, and stevia. But I really like these in cookies, guilt-free. And then I put some peanut butter chips in there as well. I mixed it all together, and that was pretty much it. Let me see, swing over. And here are the cookies. Delicious. So I can't wait to taste them. All right, y'all. I think that's it, because I think I've got maybe 2 minutes left. If there are any additional questions, let me know. Now's your chance. Thank you, Viv. That's very nice. I hope you have a lovely day as well. I will do some more lives. I'll figure out all of the technical stuff, and I've got a lot of postings that are going up. definitely check the link in my bio. If you are interested in the purple carrot special, the summer special that's going on, your first order, you have $50 off. So I think that you can get 3 of their meals for 2 people. And with the 50% off, it might cost you $29 if you're inclined to do that. But that's about it. And I guess I'll see you guys on the other side. I've been gone for a couple of weeks dealing with, just my personal shit and retreating. But if you have questions, I will get to your questions and I will do some videos around it. All right. So I hope you all have a wonderful Sunday and make healthy choices, one meal at a time. All right. Lots of love to you guys. See you next time. I have to figure out how to turn this off.